RMC Miami is a used car dealership that specializes in modified tuner cars. RMC stands for Real Muscle Car. It was started by my buddy Danny's father, Peter Lima. Back then, they just specialized in selling muscle cars from the 60s and 70s. But in the past decade, the market in the US has shifted dramatically to JDM and European tuner cars. So Peter has now passed the torch on to his son, Danny. We caught up with him on our last trip to Miami.
Can we just talk about how crazy this scene is?
Gran Turismo lobby.
I feel like it's better than a Gran Turismo lobby because you have very extensively modified cars. How is it that the market can support this?
I mean, I feel like there's just cars that you really can't make anymore. There's a lot of R&D that went into these cars way back then that we can't replicate here, especially with the RB stuff. And I think it's just like unrealistic at this point. Everybody nowadays looks at these cars more as an investment and less as like a car built for their selves, you know? Like taking an FD in 1998 and beginning this evolution over the course of 20 years. You know, somebody invested maybe $250,000 over the course of 20 years on this car. Like, you can't just drop this off at a shop and be like, build me this car. It's literally impossible. Aside from that, 75% of the parts you can't make. Same thing goes with a trial car, same thing for just a number of these cars. A lot of people just kind of are tired of the process. Singer, Gunther, Roof, they're all capitalizing on it, you know, but it's not, it's almost like an unrealistic price point where a lot of these people don't really enjoy these cars, if that makes any sense. You know, a lot of them do. I'm not saying that they don't get driven, but I think that this is a funner entry point to actually enjoy cars.
I've been to so many incredible collector car, enthusiast car dealerships all over the world, but I don't think I've ever seen a dealership have this many modified cars. It's like
they're all modified.
It's the amount that's what's blowing me away, because oftentimes, you know, especially when I'm traveling in Japan or if I'm traveling in Europe or wherever, Southeast Asia, anywhere, you go to these enthusiast car dealerships and they maybe have one or two modified cars, like heavily modified.
Yeah.
Then you look at this place, it seems like the majority of them are modified cars.
Yeah, I mean, we do like stock stuff, but it's not like, it's not fun for us, you know? Like, it's a stock car, we'll take it in trade, or we'll source them for a client. But realistically, you know, we're not professional race car drivers, but once you do a couple of track days, it's like, damn, why wouldn't you want the car a little bit spicier and a little bit more updated? You can't make a air-cooled 911 as fast as a GT3, but driving it stock kind of sucks. But we spend a lot of time dialing these cars in, and I think that's something that a lot of dealerships, you know, buying modified cars, I don't think they understand what they're looking at. You know, they don't know what to look for. And then when they get the car and they have an issue, they may not even realize it has an issue. And if they do find the issue, they don't know how to fix it or where to go. You know, so we've spent the last, you know, I mean, I've spent the last 14 years finding shops and finding people who understand these cars and specialists in each genre and like model, you know, like Ferrari guys, Porsche guys, RB guys, you know, and we've had a lot of trial and error, figure out what works and what doesn't, you know, and we're coming to a point where we like, you know, really are starting to dial the cars in where we can get customers to jump in the cars, turn key, and just go enjoy their car and not have to worry about everything that follows aside from, you know, basic maintenance.
Now you've been in the industry long enough where you know where to look for these cars.
Yeah.
Maybe some people want to get into this business, but they can't even find them. Right? So you have your sources. And B, you live this. Like, this is your hobby as well.
It's my passion.
It's your passion, and you also know what's right and wrong, right? So like, if you do get something, maybe you can tell right away that it's not of era.
Something's off, yeah.
And then you can correct it. That only comes from experience, I'm assuming.
Yeah, thank you, first of all. But yeah, I mean, like you said, we live and breathe it. Day in and day out, research, and we have hundreds of thousands of archival pictures and finding what is of era and then how to change the cars to make them of era. And I think the most important thing is keeping the car of era. I think the whole point of having a vintage car is to feel vintage. That's what makes it fun. My old man and me, like, all we've done is just enjoy motorsport. We're not road racers, we're not professional drag racers, but we kind of just dabble in a little bit of everything.
When was the tipping point? Did it take a couple years? Or
yeah, no, I mean, it was from the beginning. I think buying modified cars, it was frowned upon. I'd get hate messages. You're not gonna sell these cars. Like, and I would get like messages like on Instagram like 10, 12 years ago about this. And these are also older dudes that are just like in the car salesmen and stuff, you know, that don't understand why it is that we like this. And I think video games, honestly, from the beginning, you know, having that option to be able to customize your car exactly how you want, wheel, aero, high speed, low speed, technical, you know, and dialing in suspension and power mods really allows you to like customize a car to your flavor. And I think I just kind of relayed that into real world. I started buying like cheap 996s and E46s, and they would call me Big Brake Danny because that's all I liked. You know, it was like roll cage and big brakes. You know, like that was it. Nobody really even wanted it then. And I think that before the internet, it was really hard to translate like whether the car was healthy or not. Especially a car that's hot rodded. Obviously it's been driven harder, you know, but there's also cars that have been not driven at all, and they're just, you know, they could be 10 times worse than a car that's been properly maintained and driven properly.
You guys had to overcome this challenge for so many years in this industry. If you purchased or if you sold a modified car, it's like taking a bath on it, right?
You bought it because you liked it, and I feel like a lot of dealers have, because they're like, that's what they really like. After dealing with hundreds of stock cars, they're like, damn, what I really like is lowered wheels, exhaust, you know, like more things.
Yeah, essentially.
But it didn't
like,
work.
You're devaluing this thing because for the longest time, it would be worth so much more if it was untouched in stock.
Yeah.
But now, what I'm looking at around here, we're not just talking about wheels, tires, suspension.
Yeah, it's a little crazier. It's gotten
the things that you have are so custom. We're talking about fully stitch welded chassis. We're talking about sequential transmissions.
Yeah.
This, that, and the other, like the most cutting edge of the era.
Of era, yeah.
Which is just so cool, and it is so niche. It's just incredible. It really is.
Thank you, man. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about your customer base.
We've sold and exported a lot of cars. We've imported and exported. I think as far as customer base, I'd say definitely, I mean, East Coast, West Coast, kind of everything, you know, Midwest, you've seen some of our cars kind of everywhere. And honestly, age-wise, I mean, there's hot rodders, you know, there's guys that are hitting me up that are 60 plus years old that they just want some radical piece, you know, that you can't make. You were saying like a stock car is, you know, before was valued as much or more than a modified car, but realistically our prices, we're selling the cars plus or minus like 20% of what a stock nice car is, you know, and these cars are nice. Aesthetically, you know, they have to be preserved, they have to perform, they have to do everything. So they can fit the bill, you know, whichever way you take them. It's pretty nuts, man, you know?
Well, they can't get it anywhere else anyways.
And that too, yeah. That too, man, yeah.
Let's talk about some of these cars. Like, what intrigues me is this wide-body R32. Like, tell me about this.
There was a shop in Japan called Metalworks. They somehow were able to source a 94 series Hesemi JGTC carbon wide body. So this is a full carbon kit, obviously not the doors or the roof, but all of this is real, you know, Nissan Motorsport crazy Hesemi parts. And then obviously being that it was a very important kit to Japanese motorsport history, they didn't just pick any car, you know, they kind of picked like the nicest 32, and they kept it, it's very like almost OEM plus, you know, it's Reineck N1 pump, N1 turbos, it's got Aragosta suspension and R34 brakes with big rotors. It wasn't an overkill build, it was just like what he called was a Phantom JGTC spec street car.
I cannot believe you have this.
I think it's a cool, I mean, you can see the car right there on that carpet that we have from Patina.
Are you serious?
And it's just a clean, nice, like almost like an OEM plus build.
I cannot believe that this exists. I've shot so many of these in race car form as historic race cars.
Yeah.
But never a street car with this kit.
I think it has to be the only one in the world, man.
Oh my God.
Clearly when I saw it.
I have the chills right now because I looked at it and I knew something was special. I was assuming that it was a custom wide body. I cannot believe it's a real kit.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the rivets on the top of the quarters where they would originally rivet the kit. And
no way.
So they did make some changes because the original race car, this is just essentially a piece of chicken wire here. So they added this R35 style So it looks very street still, and this is all carbon, by the way.
That means this is a kind of a recent build then, right?
Very, yeah. I would say like 2007 to 2012.
Right, because obviously
35.
to be able to have the R35 as inspiration at all.
And I'm not one to like have to like forward date anything, but I think that this fits the kit so well. It fits the lines of the skirt, you know, the rear setup, the rear bumper setup.
I mean, like, wow. Wow.
It's pretty radical.
Some of the cars that you have really just blow me away. And I've seen, you know, a lot of cars that you've sold already. But this really is something that speaks to me. Being H3 red also. Unbelievable.
It's such a cool street car.
So then, is this sold already?
This car, no, we just listed this car.
And how much did you list
This car we're asking $79,000.
That's not bad.
Dude, a clean 32, you know what it cost? And then just like $4,000 coilovers, you know, and then N1 parts, find the kit, make it work on the car. This is molded, you know, this isn't just bolt on, which is difficult, you know?
So you have had to update it and do a couple things.
This car specifically hasn't needed a single thing. This was a very well-kept car in a beautiful garage under a nice car cover, and it was just very well taken care of.
I love this too. This is like R35 inspired.
Yeah.
79,000. Oh my God. And because it is any run-of-the-mill used car dealership, they can come in and finance.
Yes, all of this is financeable up from 8 to 16 years. But finance companies really believe in vintage cars, you know, knowing that there's no way for them to not continue to rise, whether it's 5% a year, 20% a year, you know, but they're confident in having to finance these cars for that long.
Was it one of your Japanese contacts that reached out to you? They're like, Danny, you got to see this car.
I'm gonna be honest with you, this is an auction car that just nobody knew about. Just nobody understood it. And I had pictures of the car 10 years prior, and it kind of just ran through with no information. It's one of those cars that just kind of slipped under, and it made it out. It makes sense
though. Like, it makes sense that it can fly under the radar if you don't actually know what you're looking at.
Yeah, you just look, it says replace panels, you know, like, that's it. It's R grade, you know, and it's clearly, look at the, I mean, telling by the condition of the car.
Yeah, I'm looking at
it's clearly not a, well, R grade is very loosely used nowadays, but
like, just all of this. And then
it's radical.
It's so much. It's so extra.
It is.
And that's what the race car was.
It is.
So then let's talk about some of your other cars. Like, this really screams out to me. This is the Miami special right here.
Yeah, this is absolutely the pinnacle of Miami, not a legal business person style car. This is a Japan Koenig Specials Testarossa. We've spent the last year completely mechanically restoring this car. Right now, the exterior of the car is exactly how it's been for the last 22 years. We've done Biot race suspension, Biot F360 big brake kit, electric water pump conversion, clutch, wheel bearings, timing belt, water pump, every single gasket, gone through essentially the entire car, because we think that driving a low mileage Ferrari, it's really nice to look at, but it's not a nice thing to drive. Having a sorted vintage Ferrari is a really nice driving experience. It's kind of like final boss form of modified cars, in my opinion. And it's just radical, man. I mean, white, red, Widebody Testarossa looks nuts. So this is Otasan's 1000R. This car was infamous on the Wangan. This was the fastest 33 GT-R on the street. There's speculations of the car running between 360 to 380 kilometers on the street. This is a fully stitch welded race prep chassis. It wasn't born LM. The entire car obviously was put on a rotisserie and built to do that. Recently, it was sent to Garage Source, and it's got a brand new monster 900 wheel horsepower with all the gadgets.
Yikes.
So it made 880 on E85 here.
So you tune some of these cars when they come in?
A customer of mine ended up with this car up north, and I had been chasing the car for a couple of years. He beat me to the car. For his setting, the car's too fast. He's got back roads, so you wanted to get a lower horsepower, more technical driving car. This car is a literal car just built for top-end street racing. So it didn't fit his collection. So we've been blessed to have this car that's very special. It's very documented. Previously had no paint.
What's interesting to me is you're also selling cars that are more affordable. I'm assuming this is one of those.
I like to have like really special entry-level cars because for the younger enthusiasts that are looking to get into the game, it's a great stepping stone, you know, and it's a car that you could actually keep forever and begin a collection around and begin to understand what the culture is. This is an approval kit, so it's very like Auto Garage TBK style. Approval is part of Midnight, and this was essentially just a top-end kit. So this is a 17,000 mile Gen 1 Aristo with, you know, TO4Z, SARD built trans, kind of just the best of that era. You know, like 600 horsepower, automatic, high-speed cruiser. Where are you gonna find a 17,000 mile, fully tuned, you know, 4-door, high-speed bruiser?
Talk about a sleeper.
Yeah, this is a very controversial piece. This is a DIY Japan RB26 Supra.
Get out of here.
Yeah. There's a 2.8 T88 34D. I've had this car for a couple of years now. This is a absolute weapon. R34 GT-R, get rag 6-speed with a transfer case cut off. Just a FU car, you know? And it gets down. It's very fast.
So then, is this like your personal collection?
This is one of my cars, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's, you know.
Yeah.
I gotta have I like the crazy man. And it's sorted, which is the craziest part, you know? I can't drive anything normal. I can't have another 2J car. Like, once I had the top secret car, it just was like game over for me. You know, having an RB in this platform, a 2J is a fantastic motor. It is 100% better than an RB, but this is such a linear, controllable, and a wide open throttle engine. You know, a 2J is so explosive and it needs a lot of boost, and it's very hard to control in that era. Nowadays, very modern technology, traction control, modern turbos, but I like the old school feel, you know, so.
It really means a lot coming from yourself, having been able to drive pretty much everything under the sun. And you're just looking for driving feel now.
Yeah.
Sound, feel,
that's it.
And the emotion that it gives you.
Absolutely.
And that is so hilarious that you have the chassis, right? The Mark IV chassis, but you have the heart and soul of a Skyline.
Nobody gets it until you drive it. And I mean, realistically, the chances of somebody having the experience is slim to none, you know? But being that I've driven thousands of cars, like, there's a reason that I choose this, you know? And it's exactly that. I'm not looking for 1,500 horsepower builds. I'm looking for a car that gets down, is fun, and kind of does it all for me. I think you remember this car. We've had this car for like 9 years, so.
This is like your dad's era.
Yeah. This is the OG. This is, I mean, to be honest, I love it. You know, this is still peak 80s motorsport, and nothing feels this good and this sloppy and fun. You know, a 964 is a much more dialed machine, and so is a 993. There's also a charm to driving a car that doesn't feel as perfect, you know, and it's still very fast. This would be like a little bit more modern version of this. This is, but similar setup, you know, very 935 street feel. That's a Callaway twin turbo Vet, which I think there's just something about this one that really caught our eye. I think the color combination, the magnesium wheels, the NACA ducts, you know, the condition of the car.
Where else in the world can you walk into a dealership and see these cars for sale? Where? Have you seen anything else? Have you seen anywhere else?
This is so, speaking of swaps, my dad's the complete opposite, you know. So I love road racing. My dad likes drag racing, so he has a Nissan with the 2J or a Datsun with the 2J.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So this has
opposite world.
Yeah, this is a clutchless T56, makes 1100.
Is that all?
Yeah, it's nothing. Very, very rough style build, and I think that's, you know, ideally for a guy who drives this shit, this is the style that we look for. That's a individual throttle bodied OS88 sequential gearbox. It's got air cups, so it's lifted up right now. That is a wild, naturally aspirated. It feels like a Japanese NASCAR. Like a Japanese street NASCAR. It sounds like it, it feels like it. It's not a very fast car, but it's a very emotional car to drive.
It just makes me so happy that something like this translates to your market, your audience. Like,
a lot of people don't understand this yet, you know? I feel like,
but there's enough.
Yeah.
for you to justify purchasing it, not in the hopes of selling it.
Yeah.
But
just because I like it.
Yeah, and then somebody is going to buy it.
Yeah. Eventually, when people realize that 1,000 horsepower 2J Soarers or SE300s are, not that they're problematic, but you can't really, no one can drive them hard, you know? Like this car will cruise at 150, those cars will see 150 for a brief second, and then you got to shut it down. You know, this is meant to high-speed cruise. It was actually built by a crazy shop called Saint Rowdy Produce, which has a pro mod drag racing RX-7 in Japan. It's probably one of the craziest cars I've seen over there. And this was his street car. So he'd use this to kind of like drive around the pits and make noise and then get on the highway and drive it home in between events. It was pretty radical.
And then you have cars like this, like what the hell?
Yeah, this is kind of that Koenig era. This is like a low-key Gemballa. A lot of Gemballas are very extremely gaudy. This is still gaudy, but it's not a complete UFO contraption, which we also like, I'm not gonna lie to you, but this was like, I don't need to flex that hard, but it's a full Gemballa.
You really are filling the whole stereotype about the cars that you potentially would drive in Miami. Like this is it.
This is it, 100%. I mean, this car's lived in South Florida its entire life. The thing is that most of these cars were used by people who were doing, you know, dirty deeds, and they kind of just got left to rot, and they were beat up and just left outside, and something broke, they didn't fix it, they drove them like idiots. Somehow this car survived, and it's in 100% original conditions. So for us to find an original piece that, you know, this wasn't like a race 930 turbo that had the highest level of maintenance. You know, this was kind of just a cruiser and kind of just typically beat up, so.
Let's check out some of these cars here.
Yeah. This is a 85 R5 Turbo 2 Evolution. So this was the 1 of 200 homologation street cars, and then it was converted to maxi spec. So you get the full race car look, feel, appeal, the whole 9 yards, but in a street legal chassis that was actually built off of the homologation car. So it has all of the right components, and then it has a lot of the correct Group B parts that were used in era. It's just a cool piece, bro, you know? I mean, it's not like the best car in the world. It's just such a cool car, and it's like something that people, I feel like somebody of that era would need to have this in their collection just to complete something, take it to Cars and Coffee, blow people's wigs off, you know, open it. Yeah. The correct seats, correct lollipop style seats, matter cage, correct speed lines, 3 oil coolers, water to air intercooler from 1987. It was ahead of its time.
You just know your product.
I mean, we're learning every day, man. There's so much. It just, when you think you know, and then there's 10 more chapters behind that, you know? I mean, it's really hard to know everything, but we try our hardest for sure.
You guys really have taken the RWB craze to your advantage, and you've sold so many RWBs here.
Yeah.
How many have gone through these doors?
We're on the 30 mark, which I think is quite the feat, considering that we don't buy cookie cutter RWBs. We don't just buy whatever pops up. You know, we're looking for very specific RWBs tailored to a certain style of driving. And I think, you know, this one...
Does this one have a tow hook that works?
This one's got 2 tow hooks, and I'm pretty sure I could hang the car off of that rear tow hook right there.
This one?
Yeah, that rear tow hook is no joke, bro. Yeah. You could probably see it, but it's got gussets welded into the sides. What happened in that video wasn't the real thing. The thing is, Nakai is such a perfectionist on doing things so fast that the guy had an air tank in that car, and he kind of just laid it, and he did it so nice that people actually bought that that's what he does. You know, if you know real RWB, you know he races idlers. They race 12-hour endurance races. They race 30-minute sprints with 700 wheel horsepower, sequential gearboxed, air-cooled cars. And, you know, they flip these cars, they hang them off the roof, you know? I mean, it's...
Right, so the story is that there wasn't room to put the tow hook because the air tank was in the way.
Correct.
You physically couldn't mount a tow hook there.
I'll show you in this car.
Okay.
It actually has... So this car has a proper, it's called a 993 Super Cup tow hook.
I love that. It's almost like you took this personally.
100%. Because people were like, oh, what do you think? And I'm like, well, first of all, it's not an RWB that I would ever buy or, run through the shop. Even though I get requests on cars like that, they're not my style of car. So this car you can see here, look,
Yep.
See this plate welded in? Right there. Right, a little bit more.
Yep.
This one. There you go. Yeah, you see it.
Yep. That's the plate.
This is a real tow hook. Yeah.
Right.
It's mounted to the tub. The story with that car is that it's the atypical American style build, and I'm, not to talk shit, it's the guy's style. There's nothing wrong with it. The beautiful thing about RWBs is that you personalize them to however you like. But a lot of the RWBs nowadays have lost the sense of what RWB started with and what it is, and this is what a true RWB is. This is a true street track car. It's as absolutely as light as possible, the most amount of camber, the craziest fitment. This car's been tracked with that fitment. There's zero issues with the car rubbing. And we're talking about, 120 miles an hour going into serious banking. And
there's
that's all fresh. Yeah.
patina from
Fiberglass doors, big reds, Ohlins, full Heim joint conversion, real cage. We call this one the Silverback Gorilla. We took the cushions out to get them cleaned. We took it out last night, as I'm sure people will see.
Yep.
So they were a little dirty, but
335s.
Yeah, it's got a lot of meat back there. A lot of meat.
What a car.
Full Lexan, lightweight windows. So this car weighs. It's got a built 3.8 liter, 6-to-1 header. So this is 2550 with half a tank of gas, and it makes about 300 horsepower. It's a car you can literally drive wide open throttle.
It
all the
sounds
time,
so rowdy.
Everywhere, and it sounds sick. It's just so much fun to
rowdiest
drive.
sounding.
Yeah.
I feel like probably the rowdiest sounding RWB I've ever heard.
Yeah.
It's so loud. It's so good.
Yeah.
If you have a cool car to sell, check out Hagerty Marketplace. It's free to list your car. You get dedicated support before, during, and after your auction. You get to keep 100% of the profits. Check out the link down below.
It's got a very lightweight flywheel. It's got a cup flywheel in it, so it revs like crazy, So the response on the engine is insane. And that's another thing, is like you can't just throw a straight pipe on one of these cars. Just because it's loud doesn't mean it sounds good. And if the car doesn't have a lightweight flywheel, that's a huge issue with the way that the car revs. It just sounds like shit, personally. So that's my hot take on RWBs. I have a few RWBs, and they're all kind of along those guidelines. That's what fits our RWB aesthetic. So this is one of the very early US builds. It was built by Bong out in Seattle number 3. This car was built with a track mindset. He completely set up the suspension, KW V3s, monoball top hats, headers, lightweight flywheel tuned, and he actually did HPDE days in the car and set up the car and maintained it. It wasn't just the cheapest shit box that they could find, throw a wide body kit on it and send it. This was actually a nice car. It was very serviced, very documented. It wasn't a perfect car, being it was a 100,000 mile car, but it was the car that you want to build these cars off of. I think it's wrong to cut up an original paint 40,000 mile car with a window sticker. That's literally not the point of these cars. You're supposed to give the car a second life. You're supposed to give a tired car, a hurt engine, or shitty paint car a whole different life. Don't take a perfect car. You're destroying it, That's not the point.
The point is to take something that was not extraordinary and make it extraordinary.
Absolutely. It's the whole point. That saying right there is wait, Etwing. It's very hard to pronounce. It means second life. So it's German for giving this car its new life, and a purpose. And I think that's, again, the true idea of an RWB is that, To me, these are cars that I've obviously very specifically handpicked, spent a lot of time sorting, but these are the cars that will get people in the door. This is a Duluck kitted NSXR, really nice NSX. This is a single turbo, little track weapon. Some of these cars were forgotten. And this is one of the cars that were forgotten, and we've spent the last 3 years sorting this car. It's been a process. These cars, again, like you said, a lot of these cars end up just rotting away in fields. This car didn't rot away in a field, but it rotted away in a garage. So we've refreshed the engine, new crank, ACL bearings, but we've kept everything OG. Kept the original Veilside T300S kit. This was the car that they unveiled this kit on. So for the old school Cali heads, this is the car that you were buying the kit off the Veilside website. And to me, that was a very special, I'm not particularly a huge fan of the kit, but this is the car, you know? And I think this one looks really good. And this was a zero yawn, so what they call 0 to 400 street car. It was called the Silver Wolf, and it's literally in the dash, which is, I thought it's the coolest shit in the world.
So then, like, for example, with something like this, do you connect with Yokomoka-san?
Yes, yeah, he confirmed that this was a fully done car by him, and this is the car on his website. This is the car, yeah.
It's just so
Not
cool.
through me. There's a guy on Instagram called Veilside Era that documents all the Veilside cars. And he reached out to him and he forwarded me the email saying that is the car. And essentially the only thing that's changed is it had Veilside Andrews on it. Now, you know, being obviously the cars evolve to some point, they put the LMs on it and they did take the combat wing off the car. The only two things that have changed. Other than that, everything is exactly the same. Yeah, AC controls.
Can I just point out
crazy,
how
bro.
ridiculous this is?
Yeah, it's
a carbon fiber panel, but the fact that it's like not even centered or anything, it's like just laid in there. The AC controls.
I think Veilside realistically was very UFO-like. I know that sounds crazy, but this guy literally built UFOs.
This is so funny to me.
The fuel system is out of this world. It is the pinnacle of race fuel systems for a street car. I bought this one also because it's not a cookie cutter Supra, you know? But obviously this shit is very dated, but it's just fucking cool. Like, you have to respect what made these cars what they are today, and this is a huge stepping stone for these cars.
So a couple points I wanted to make from looking at this. You saved this car.
Yes, 100,000%.
Like, this may have been just left in a lot somewhere or in a rice field.
Yeah,
you know, you don't know. And it could have rusted away for the rest of its life, but you saw that it was something special, you saved it, and now it's here in the US, ready to go to a new home.
Absolutely.
Or is it sold already?
This car's not sold yet, no. Like I said, we spent a lot of time dialing it in, so it just recently got listed as well. I mean, you see, it's
how much is
brand
this
new
car?
HKS Hypermaxes. So the thing with this car is 89,000 asking. The thing with this car is with Supra guys are very finicky with what ECU they want to run, fuel system. You can run some Hellcat brushless pumps, make a lot less noise. This shit sounds like a drone right now. You're in the car, you have the AC blasting, and all you hear is the pumps wide open.
That's perfect for you. You love.
Oh, actually,
you
no.
love
I have a deposit on this car at the moment. Actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I took a deposit this week. On Monday. Yeah, the guy came in on Monday.
You know, lucky buyer, a lucky owner. I'm so happy that this individual is going to be the next caretaker of this piece of history.
So very cool story. He's from NorCal originally. Again, this is just a deposit. You know, we still have financing and things to go through, but the gentleman who came to look at the car, he bought a 34 and he's getting a drag R kit build and he's replicating the original Veilside drag R, and he's gonna park this car. He's a Veilside freak, OG from Cali, and he wants to have this car with his Veilside Fortune FD and the drag R R34 twin top mount as well, old school drag style, you know, build. I don't know if you guys remember. The one that went to New Zealand went 215 miles an hour with Daijiro driving the car, crazy on the road, you know, in the rain, you know, so. I think Harlow actually owns the real car now, and they're also restoring the car completely back to original spec, which is pretty cool.
So my other question, because I see that you're doing so much in terms of refreshing, fixing what's wrong, who actually does the work here in Miami?
So I found this guy called Smith Racing Development, and he's a triple OG for Supras. He actually has a Castro JGTC bodied Supra that raced in Speed Vision in the early 2000s. And he has a lot of drag racing and road racing pedigree with 2Js. So he's a very exclusive person to get in the door. We kind of hit it off, and he's helped me revive the engine. As far as suspension and other components, we've been able to do them in-house. We have a workshop in the back. For the takeoff, put-on items, you know, we're not building engines in-house, but we're dropping motors and doing what we need to do. And then obviously we're not a machine shop and we're not engine builders, but we're able to kind of do everything in between to get the cars sorted. I mean, you know, obviously these cars are maintenance to get them to what they need to be.
I mean, because at this point, there's so many different types of cars. Like, you have the Rotaries with the FDs, you have Porsches air-cooled, you have all these, you know, RBs, 2Js, this and the other. Does that mean you have to have almost like a specialist for each of these
Absolutely.
to look?
RB guys, just to, Rav Performance out in West Palm Beach. He helps me with refreshes, with tuning, with wiring harness, just that. Then the cars to get the final, sort and dial as far as suspension, fluids, fine tuning, going through the entire car, nut and bolting, corner balancing, all of that stuff is Relevant Performance. That guy helps me with basic maintenance on 911s and rotaries. My engine builders for 911s are, I have a couple guys out in Pompano that have been racing air-cooled engines for a long time, so they have they gotta be old school, they gotta know the tricks, they gotta know what works. It's crazy because it's a dying breed. All the engine builders for these cars, not the modern, young timer stuff, but air-cooled stuff, there's a finite amount of people and they're getting paid the humongous bucks, $150,000 NA race motors. What Rossport is building, they got radical 4 liters, but again, you have to come in the door at these crazy prices, push everybody out of the way, build an extreme cylinder head. You got to have tons of work. If not, you're waiting. I've waited 1.5 years just for a set of cylinder heads to get ported, machine checked, angled, 3-angle valve job and sent back. It's a process, I have projects that take 2 to 3 to 4 years. This is one of the longer projects. It's a process.
You have a seemingly cookie cutter 180 SX build, but it's so far from that. It's like,
oof, if you only knew.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
this is a ATS BM demo car. This is the first 180 to ever break 1 minute at Scuba. I have a fucking obsession with Scuba, if you haven't been able to tell. The reason I have an obsession is because when you get a car that's been so finely dialed, there's no driving experience like it, period. So this is a SR21 GT3037, 440 horsepower, Vertex Ridge wide body. It is the first 180 to break 1 minute. This is what it is. This is final form for the car. We were able to source this car and, I went to Japan to drive the car, sort it. It's been on Nishi, it's been on Higashi, and it's just a finely balanced car. This is pinnacle golden era JDM in the sense that nothing's overbuilt and it's literally just utilizing everything you absolutely need and nothing more to make a fast car. It's not overkill in the brakes, it's not overkill in the motor, it's not overkill in the trans, it's just a finely tuned machine.
It's just balanced, huh?
Yeah, this is one of my cars. I can't, it's hard to replace this What am I gonna do?
You track this?
Yeah.
But do you drive this on the street also?
I do, but it's also geared really short. If I lived in Cali, this is the perfect car for what I need. But to keep up, when we go for a drive, last night we're obviously cruising, if we go drive just us, it's a little more spirited. And you're cruising at 90, it's hard to sit at 4,700 RPM. You told me 2.1, 3037. Just gonna start.
What is that, Dad?
The best company in the world.
This is so cool. This is what I was talking about earlier when I was saying driving feel and what a car makes you feel like when you're enjoying it.
I don't know how people get stuck on one car because there's so many good cars. Oh, why am I gonna have this? I could buy a GT-R. It's this, I have a GT-R, there's guys that are way more GT-R freaks than I am, but I consider myself I'm in love with GT-Rs. I've tracked GT-Rs. Tracking this is just an extreme nimble, explosive, and the feel of a super lightweight. The GT-R feels heavy and gripped up. This is the complete opposite. It's kind of sloppy in the rear end, and it feels so light. It feels so tied in. You're going over rumble strips. Your 2 wheels in the air, easy, and the car's you're kind of just skating through the turns, and you could point it anywhere. You can get on the brakes at any point. There's no limit to the braking, and those are things you can't do with a GT-R. So S chassis definitely have a place. If you look at Yashio Factory doing time attack back then with all these guys are running 56s and 57s with SRs with stock trans or small sequential boxes. It's not crazy. So clutching in or IKEA Formula short shift kits. And it's crazy to think these cars are mid 50s cars with not completely reinventing the wheel. Under Suzuki went 50, I think, with an SR, which is absolutely crazy. We had a US guy fly out there with a 475 cubic inch, LS with twin GT40Rs, and he's still giving. He hasn't built a car around that track, but that is a monster machine to not be able to catch a 4-cylinder. It's crazy to think that this is such a capable car, but just everybody using them for drifting. Nobody ever looks at these cars as grip cars, and they're so good, bro. They're great cars. So this is an original turbo car that Promodet, a shop in Japan, converted to naturally aspirated. It has a 3.6 base, now 4-liter ITB, Motec.
Oh, wow.
Full coilover conversion from torsion bar, electric power steering, AP racing brakes. And this is about a 380 horsepower, all motor, just, little street weapon. This car's geared really short. This car would be an absolute blast in the canyons or back roads. These short geared cars don't love the highway stuff just because you're really spinning these cars. At 90 miles an hour, you're at 4,500 RPM. It's definitely ideal for more technical driving. It's definitely set up for that. It's the easiest driving modified to this level G-body I've ever driven. I think the electric power steering, the G50 helps. Having these cars with electric power steering is f***ing mind-blowing. It just doesn't feel right. It feels very right, but it's just not what you're used to. So I actually put this bumper on the car. It had typically this is a highway style bumper, and I don't think anyone's done a rally style TBK bumper. Being that the car does have 964 side skirts fitted, I thought it'd be right to go with the 964 TBK style front bumper, which I love, but I left all the venting open for oil cooler braking, and then running a set of rally style front fogs. I thought instead of on the side, like the TBK 964 over there. I thought it was a different look, more suiting to that style of driving. Titanium headers, flame bent, titanium mufflers, 3.8 crank, 3.8 heads. This is a absolutely rowdy booger. So it's a customer GT300 kitted top secret Supra, Fortress T37s, and all the OG shit.
Oh, wow. So you're gonna put it back together and...
So we began to take it apart just because it had scratches and shit, Yeah. And then during COVID, the body shop didn't do it.
So then you're going to put this all together as a full, complete top secret
So I had to go
car.
pick up the car. It's a complete customer top secret car. It was completely complete. Like I said, we just wanted to refresh a few things, and then unfortunately, these guys they took it apart and then they left it like that for a year. So I'm just gathering the time to find the right person to do it, because I'm not gonna put it in the wrong hands again.
That is so wide.
It's pretty rowdy, man.
It's incredible. Okay, as if it wasn't crazy enough to shoot all the cars inside your showroom, you have so many incredible builds out here too.
There's a lot of cars out. A lot of these cars we spent a lot of time sorting. This car got sent back to Saurus. This is a 900 horsepower sequential gearbox. Obviously Bayside Blue 34. This is reserved for a customer. Exactly what we look for. T88 38 GK. Very period correct build, but it's all entirely fresh from top to bottom. This is like a 0 yawn spec. Line lock, 2-wheel drive switch. Absolute weapon. One of my favorite parts on the car is that they put a stock 5-speed shift knob and the car has a Hollinger. It's just like a fucking extra little flex. I love that.
Seriously?
I love it. I love
like
it.
Like a $10 shift knob.
Yeah. So it's kind of sleeper considering how fast the car is, and it kind of feels good. I'm not gonna lie to you, And you don't need the reverse pop-up, so.
No way.
Yeah, this car's going to Virginia.
There's certain things that give off the fact that it is such an insane car.
The June hood and the Saurus brakes, and
yeah,
there's a couple of low-key items that'll make it spicy.
But you look at the interior, and fully stock seats, fully stock pretty much everything except for the MFD.
Yeah, it's got some Race Tech Australian MFD with some crazy vital readouts.
This is hilarious. So then, this one's already sold.
This one's going to Virginia. This one we just sold yesterday. This is staying local. This was like the Rotiform demo car they unveiled these wheels on.
Oh yeah, I remember this car.
It's got Prozzi's air, big brakes. It's a pretty cool car. Happy to see it stay here.
I just have to say the variety, the range, is what really surprises me.
we like cars, man. It's not really like we're not set on anything.
So you don't sell crossovers or SUVs?
Murano convertibles specifically. Also, that's our side business. Yeah, no, I don't really like anything else, but other than this, you know.
Yeah.
This is very deep Japan, in my opinion. This is Revolve SA, full Abflug kit. If you want to read the front, it's kind of funny and kind of cool. We're in the van of the New Era Army Corps, have a policy extremely splendid. Always aim the gun at number one maximum speed in splendid form, I think is the craziest translation to the coolest driving and style shit I've ever seen in my life. This car spent a year and 8 months at Revolve getting completely mechanically sorted. This car's sold as well. This is T78, you know, twin disc, full suspension, big brakes, 17 and a half gauges. I mean, it literally is all gauges inside.
That's the whole, I heard you like gauges.
I love gauges, man.
So
yeah, I heard you like gauges, so we put gauges on your gauges.
Yeah, they actually did.
I think it's important, man. I think nowadays, like a new computer, it doesn't tell you what you're doing until it just hits a safety or starts pulling back timing.
There's literally not any more room for another gauge.
No, there's zero. I can fit a one or two, but yeah, there's not much. Yeah.
Look, even the tweeters look like gauges.
This thing's a UFO. In my opinion, this is a like Wangan battleship.
Yeah.
And the car's being like completely color changed to flat black, engine compartment, everything. This isn't just like a wrap.
So cool.
Yeah, this car was from in the UK. It left Japan, and we did a full suspension refresh, fuel system refresh. This has quantums. This is a real runner spec street car, literally just built for street racing. It was called Mogutan. There's blogs on a lot of these cars of the guys documenting them. To me, that makes it a special car. You know, crazy old school Motec setup. We just had the car completely retuned. That you can see the setup in the back is nuts. It's just all intercooler. You know, it's got a built 3.3 custom aero.
Have you kind of built a reputation for yourself as like the guy? Like, do people in Japan know, like, okay, he's the guy. Yeah, he's gonna collect these cars. He wants to collect these cars and sell them.
I think it's, I mean, I don't know, maybe, you know. I talk to a lot of them, you know, and I've been making a lot of relationships, you know, every time that we go over there. We've recently acquired a lot of very special cars. I don't know if I'm the guy, but I think that they understand that I greatly appreciate the work that they've put into these cars. And they also, I'll document a lot of the things, you know, privately to them or to smaller groups of people of what we do to sort them. You know, it's not just pump and dump. And I think that they also like to see that. So it's, you know, obviously that means I respect the car. I'm paying them a lot of money. I'm spending a lot of time and money to make these cars right, and then I'm putting them in good hands. You know what I mean? Realistically, yeah, it's not the, you know, I'm sure they're not the happiest that it's leaving, but they are really going to a lot of great homes, and I'm making them what they once were, if they ever need it, you know.
And my take on that is that the Japanese people had their chance with these cars. You know, there's a reason why they're leaving Japan. It's because, unfortunately, no one in Japan in this era wants to pay the money to keep these running.
It's
on
very
the street.
expensive. It is.
You know,
expensive.
they just don't want to upkeep them and restore them and bring them back to their former glory.
Yeah. I think it costs a lot of money everywhere, and I think in Japan there's even less of the trade has been sent off into the new generation, less than here. You know, I think that the new generation here is more eager to learn about old school stuff than it is over there. So as far as mechanics and upkeep and maintenance, there's a lot less of that over there, so there's not a lot of places that they can turn. I genuinely think that there's gonna be a point in time where these cars might go back, and that's the beautiful thing about these cars. You know, I've sent these cars to and from places. You know, we have sent them, I've bought a car, sent it back to Japan. I've bought cars, sent them to Brazil. They end up back in Canada with the original owner. You know, and I think that's why these cars are such great investments, is worldwide, everybody appreciates these cars. You know, like it's not just me, this crazy guy in Miami. Like, I think real hot rodders appreciate special cars everywhere. And, you know, even if you have millions of dollars to create this hypercar collection, at the end of the day, there's a lot of guys who have those budgets, but they prefer to have $250,000 cool cars with great stories, great history, and great driving feel. And they prefer to go that route because it is funner to drive, and doesn't hurt the value and you don't feel bad driving it. And it really is one-off shit, you know? At the end of the day, you buy a hypercar, supercar, or, you know, there's hundreds of them, you know? If you really want something unique, you know, you have to go another route, you know? We're just not as well known as a lot of the bigger shops, and I'm cool with that, you know? I'm cool with keeping it within a small community of people and just having them revolve, you know? It is interesting to me, though, in Japan that they still are building a lot of cars. It's not like they're done, you know? There's a lot of cool shit being built 24/7, as, you know, as you've seen in TOS, and I think they've been bringing back a lot of the golden era shit because they see that people are really appreciating it.
Well, the crazy thing to me is that I would say most of these people are still alive and they're still working.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing.
Most of the guys are, yeah, the ones that built them 20 years ago. I mean, Smokey won TOS like best of show with a 20-year-old body kit on an R34. To me, that's crazy. At the end of the day, some of them just end up going backwards saying, fuck it. Like, we really peaked in that era. RWBs, I feel like peaked at a certain point. It's okay to have different opinions, and I don't love it. I think I respect it, and I feel like there's always room for evolution. But I think I'm stuck on one style. You know, and I think it was the greatest style, and I think that's the mid to early 2000s, late 90s, you know, that 10 to 15 year period I think is the best. And from what I've seen from my customer base is that doesn't matter if you're 60 or you're 20, that's where everybody is kind of jointly headed, you know, and I think that speaks for a lot for where these cars are headed, and that's why it's important to keep them OG and era correct, and that's basically, that's it, man, you know.
Later that evening, we met back up with Danny because the last time we were in Miami, we went out with him and his father for a night drive. This time, we invited a few more friends to go out for another epic cruise around Miami to check out the local car picture.
So, what about tonight? You were thinking
I don't know,
we can bring a couple cars out, or?
So yeah, this was the first NSX to break a minute at Scuba. It was Toyota's test bench, 3.5 stroker. So it's a real R, and Trial just went to town trying to make it the fastest NA car in Japan at the time.
Dude, so cool.
And we just had the engine refresh, new crank, a bunch of stuff. So we're thinking maybe NSX RWB, maybe AS, you know, full race car RX-7. I know last time we took out a 3-rotor.
Yes.
Veilside car, so I feel like this one is, you know.
Yeah, I like that. No,
equally as radical.
All right, cool. That's it. That's perfect. We didn't have to choose. They were all ready to go.
Yeah, they're ready to rip.
So are these 3 for sale?
Yeah, these 3 are for sale. Yeah. They're not like publicly for sale, but you know.
If you have the right amount
Yeah,
of money.
you gotta be in.
Yeah. you got to be able
It's
to
hard,
afford
man.
these.
I don't like to sell these cars to people who don't understand them, you know?
Yeah,
it could be a bad representation of the car, it could be a bad representation of us, you know, if they don't understand how to like drive the car, you know, I don't care if you're, you know, I don't care about Instagram following, I don't care about nothing. I just like want real motorsport enthusiasts to end up with the cars, you know, to like take care of them long term, not be like, oh, I fucking broke it in a day, you know? It's like, it's kind of whack. So these are very delicate cars. They'll last you forever, but if you don't know what you're doing, you could break this stuff all very fast. This is just like our normal musical chairs. Move around.
You need more space.
Yeah, we're out. We're definitely out. Definitely out of space, but you know, we're trying to get like better cars. Less cars, better quality. The market's definitely tailoring towards like people who just want to have shit that they could just jump in and kind of have fun with it and not have to go through a 5-year build process. Taking a car down to bare chassis and stitch welding it and finding out what combination works and waiting for parts and having somebody do it, and just for body shop, just for machine shops, just for sorting time, you know? By the time people are done after a 4-year project, they're like, fuck this, I don't even want to drive it anymore, you know? Like they want to sell it by the time they're done. So, you know, kind of just get stuff that's like 95% and kind of just like, you know, make it your own from there. But yeah, if you're not spending $2 million on a Singer, you know, like you can't really buy shit that is turnkey and ready to rip, you know. Let's do it. So yeah, we'll get these things out of here and warm them up, throw some tags on a few of them. I don't know if I have enough.
So sick. What's up, bud?
Perfect weather.
Yeah. Perfect. Whoa!
So it's a dead-on one of one.
That's your car.
That is my.
We got the sheriff here. I think he likes these cars. Look, so cool. Oh my God. It doesn't get more Miami than this. It's so good. We got the police car. This is the best shot right here. This is the scene. Oh my God. There we go. He's out. See, cops love cars too.
This cruise was something I was really looking forward to, as I haven't had a chance to shoot in Miami for a couple of years. We all gathered up at a gas station and the guys came together to figure out the route that we were going to take for the night.
How much is this?
They're from 15 to 20 grand. The last one I saw for sale was 18.
Just for the hatch. Mugen.
Mugen parts are out of control expensive. From bumpers are like $25,000. Like it's
Real NSXR. This is out of control. It is amazing, really, to me that how much of a street car this looks like, even though it is a full-on time attack car. Wait, so is this a 5-speed then?
It is still 5-speed, yeah. It's got a 4.6 regear. So it's like really...
That's why you're saying it's for scuba, so it's top of 5th at the end of scuba straightaway. Okay.
We're cruising at 80 and it's like...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's singing, bro.
Surprisingly, it's pretty quiet.
The route we had planned included a tunnel that we were trying to gather all the cars together for one group shot. Unfortunately, the tunnel was closed, so we diverted to another parking area.
Is there another location?
Yeah, there's one right here. We're gonna go literally right here, make a right. You have this road right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Okay, we gotta go. Can I ride with you?
Yeah.
All right. This is gonna be serious induction noise here. Oh, what the? Oh my God. That's so loud.
It's spicy, bro.
Dude, that sounds crazy. Hold on. Oh, jeez. I can't believe it sounds like that.
Can't believe an NA NSX can feel like this. Like everybody always bitches and moans how slow the NSX is. Like it's a great momentum
Dude,
car.
this is so fast.
But this is actually spicy.
Dude, this is a monster. And you can drive it slow too.
Drivability is like a normal car. It doesn't at all feel like what it is.
Amazing. I've never heard a car like that. That is very loud.
It's all induction. Like, so it's not even that loud. And like
From the outside, it doesn't even sound that loud.
all you hear is induction.
This interior is
It's a street car with fuel cooling.
Fuel cooler, and it's got temp sensor on male and female. The whole rear of the car is a carbon firewall to protect you from the fuel. So
What?
it's only 400 horsepower, but it's like how to dial in the whole entire car. Billet AP monoblocks. It's built by a shop called Revolution. They built the craziest shit in the world. The whole car is dry carbon except for the roof and the rear quarters. That's not a normal mount. Typically, they're mounted to the rear hatch. I got it.
How is this a street car? This is just unbelievable.
VIN and a tag.
Yeah, the whole car stitch welded. You see all the spot welds throughout the car. Even though the mounts for the fuel cell are dry carbon.
It's a fuel cool. Yeah.
This is basically like the R32, the HKS R32. You know how they deleted the rear seats and put the fuel cell there?
Yeah,
That
you gotta
is
find
so
a balance
cool.
with these cars, with all of them.
And so that's the firewall.
The seats are
That is
cupped
a
in
firewall.
though.
Yeah,
Okay.
That is something else.
Mine-
The filler is right here.
yeah. So we 3D scanned a little piece so that you can like keep the filler neck open, because it's impossible to imagine trying to fuel this up with your finger. You know, you're gonna lose your finger.
Unless you have like the quick dry disconnect.
Yeah, imagine you're going to show and trying to
Yeah.
that's not gonna happen.
Because normally, where's the fuel filler on these cars? Is it like right
It's
here?
actually on that side.
Oh,
there,
okay.
usually.
Somewhere
It's
in here.
usually right here, but that's shaved now. Wow.
There's no way to get in and out without.
What a car. Look at the door.
Carbon door panels.
So it's
Carbon door.
so it's a Mazdaspeed FC GT300 Hewland. So it's first gear up, second gear down, like almost like a motorcycle, and then reverses on a separate lever.
Wait. What?
Yeah, it's got breakers on board. You see.
So it's sequential, but first is up,
First is up, second's down.
and then 3, 4, 5
And then
is down.
It's like a bike. First up, everything.
And
down.
then you hit that for reverse.
Yeah, and it's
go to neutral,
it's
then you
tricky.
hit
Yeah.
Oh, so you have to go to neutral first.
You gotta go first. You gotta start in neutral. You gotta clutch in, put it in first, back to neutral, and then try to feel it into reverse. If it doesn't go in, you gotta go through that whole process again. So if you're trying to make a U-turn somewhere, you better be really.
That's why
you know what
you're
doing.
That's why you're saying that this transmission alone costs how much?
Just to rebuild the trans was 27 grand. The thing is they don't support this trans because it was a Mazda race trans from an FC. So if you notice, like, it's got a custom bell housing, it's got all FC, like master and all that stuff. I don't know why they went that route. Maybe for gearing, you know. But the car feels like a Banshee. It feels like a two-stroke, you know, dirt bike, literally with a roof.
I cannot believe that this is a car for sale at a dealership. That's what blows me away. Look at the heat shielding. Look at all that. That's not sound deadening, right? That's heat shield.
That's heat, yeah. Yeah, because the hot side of the turbo's on this side, and that will, I mean, there's videos of KG, like, his shoe burns, like, literally, like his Simpson shoe will burn through. So it gets extremely hot. Rotaries naturally have super high EGTs, so you need a lot of heat management on the tunnel. You have all the breakers on board, so you could change a relay, like, on the fly if you need to.
Like real race car stuff.
Yeah. It's not loud. None of these.
Oh my god. So you updated all this?
That was already done.
Okay.
This is for, this is street activity.
Right. How did you find this in Japan?
At Ebisu, actually. It was an old man. He's had the car since 1997, and he just literally couldn't drive the car anymore. So this car's final form, AS built the car from day one to now. It got to a point where, I mean, literally, there's nothing left to do, and I mean, the dude was in his 70s, like, I think after 20 years of, like, perfecting a car, some people get, they get tired of it, they can't drive it. It's really hard to get in and out of the car. I'm 250 pounds, I can get in and out, but if you don't know the formula, you can embarrass yourself easily, but it's not that bad.
Wait, but this is running on pump gas then?
Right now it's on pump, yeah. Right now it's on pump with Torco Octane Booster and Idemitsu premix. If you go to a track day, then you're gonna use race gas. But for the street and just like quick stuff, it's not like a 800 horsepower motor. It's a street ported, you know, TO4E, like not a big build. I think they just kind of focus on making it like it's not a time attack car, it's like a 30-minute sprint car. So you got to drive it. Time attack cars are good for like one lap, you know, one, 2 laps, and you got to shut it down. This is for a little longer than that.
Like, it's almost like you're finding these gems that may not be famous, like something like this, right? This is a famous car.
This car was also lost. Like, it had a stock front bumper on it, and it had a hurt engine, and the car was kind of just like, wasn't hurt, you know? Like, you started, had like a little rod knock, and I didn't like the way it sounded. Ended up having a little bit of, you know, little scoring on the bearings, and Toda sourced us a brand new crank once we told them which car it was. They gave us a brand new crank, because now even all the new Toda cars, like in the States, are using BC cranks. But luckily they were able to source us one. So the car was kind of just like, it was old man used. And I think the reason is because the car runs so fat that it contaminates the oil and it'll start to wash the bearings. Like, it runs really fat. Like, when I step on it, like if you're behind me, it just rolls, it rolls coal out the back. So this is something you gotta change the oil on every 500 miles realistically, you know, not like a stock NSX that with perfect fuel injection, you know, like this is aggressive. So if you're not on top of like the maintenance, if you think you're just cruising it, you're really not doing it any justice. Like, you need to clean the car out, and you need to kind of drive it spirited.
It's making way more than 100 horsepower per liter. Think about that, you know?
That's crazy.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And it feels like if I tell you 400, you know, like a lot of people say 400 horsepower, but like you get in the car and it's like, you know,
Dude,
like
that is a serious
like
400 horsepower.
Yeah, this is like aggressive 400, and it's the power. Like the power band is 4,500 to 8,000. You know, usually it's a little more linear with a NA engine. Yeah, I think it's a phenomenal car.
I have it. That was
I don't want to sell any of this shit.
Yeah, like
That's the problem.
I paid a lot of money for these cars, you know, and that's like, again, that's why I said like we kind of keep them a little low key, just because you can't just let them now that you know.
Plus,
I can't give this to anybody, you know, like to anybody that walks in the door. It's not gonna do it justice.
But plus, you put so much into it to get them up to par
Sorting,
too.
yeah, I spend a lot of time sorting, and I think that's a big issue with a lot of people who sell modified cars, is that they don't go through the steps, you know, because financially it doesn't make sense to buy a car for $100,000, spend 6 months sorting, and sell it for 120 grand, you know. But for me, it's more like, I mean, I want to create a community of the craziest cars in the world, you know, from Japan, from Germany, from the States. You know, it just, in the States, you don't find as well maintained and sorted cars. If it's a race car, it's like a race car. Like, it's not going to do street stuff nice. You know, like, you could take this thing to dinner and then go, you know, 997 GT3 killer, you know, in the canyons or on the track, you know. So having like the full balance cars, I think, are realistically only coming from, you know, the place that we both like to visit and enjoy. So
we just happened to run into my friends Juka and Ricky Boada, both of which are real key players in the Latin America car culture scene. Juka runs a Spanish-speaking YouTube channel with over 6 million subscribers, and he is such an incredible content creator. I love watching his stuff. The first time I met him was on set of Gymkhana when we were in Mexico City. He made a cameo in his Volkswagen Bug.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, Larry.
What are you doing in town?
I came here to purchase a car, actually. So the parameters I put up for the purchase, the conditions haven't been met yet. So I hope in a couple of weeks I come here to pick it up. But I'm between a Supra and a R33 GT-R.
Wait, so you're coming to Miami from Mexico City,
yes,
to buy these cars?
Yes. So this is my Miami car, actually, currently, the E60 M5. It's nice, but it causes some troubles from time to time, as it should.
But he drives it hard. Like we cannot believe that the car is still in one piece.
To be honest, it's a warrior. It's a full warrior. Yeah, it handles the pressure.
So, but you could buy cars from anywhere. Why do you come here?
Because I got my boys in here. So I come to Miami a lot, so I like the scene, I got my boys, so why not come to a place that you, I mean, I don't have a place, I don't have anything here, but I have a
car.
a car. You can sleep in a car, but you can't raise an apartment. So yeah, this is the reason. And I plan to come here more often each time, so yeah.
The car culture here is so rich. and
Insane.
So
Pure.
it's just so good. It's just so diverse. They just love cars.
Yes.
They know how to enjoy them too.
And I see a lot of like crazy builds that are like legal on the streets, because in the USA apparently it works like depending on the state, right?
It depends.
That doesn't happen in Mexico.
California, for example, it's trickier.
Exactly.
Or harder.
So in Texas you've got crazy builds, Miami you've got crazy builds. In Mexico it's just like the country, the rules. It's not like each state has its own rules. So I like the culture here because you can see these things riding on the streets. People drive them, they drive them hard. They got like Ricky's build, the Type A. You don't see that shit in like California or whatever, like driving on the streets. So yeah, that's what I
That is
like.
the most insane. It's so crazy to see that thing on the street.
Oh.
I love that car.
Every time I see it, I'm like, Ricky, you've got one of my favorite builds ever, like ever. That's a nice build.
It's so cool.
So what are you here for?
Just came here to shoot some more car culture.
Oh, really?
So I came here for the 24 hours of Daytona.
Okay.
The endurance race, right? But I figured I'd stay longer, shoot with some friends, catch up with some people. you
Nice.
know? Yeah. Which goes back to me wanting to go to Mexico City again and shooting with you. It's on my list. It's on my short list. Literally, I have 5 items I want to shoot this year. 5. And it's one of those 5. You know?
Well, you remember the bug? The
Yes.
bug. That bug's actually being transformed heavily engine-wise. Once it's done, it's gonna be like 200.
I have your number. I'll text you.
Yeah, text me because it's gonna be pushing like 220 to the wheels. So it's gonna be fun. So you can drive it. In 3 months, I'm gonna have all of my cars
I can't wait.
ready for you to rock them.
I can't wait. I love Miami. Oh my God. You gotta love Miami, man. This just turned into a thing. Damn. Who brought the cruiser? I think this should be my camera vehicle for tonight.
Dude, this is sick.
Dude, this is really cool.
Yeah.
I like this. I love this so much. He's asking this random guy who just pulled up to go check to see if the tunnel's open so we can go get some shots in the tunnel. That makes me so happy.
So they were excited about this little midnight meet that they rolled up on, and they didn't realize how important it was. So we gave them a task, and they went to go see if the tunnel's open for us.
So then the guy's gonna come back and report back to us.
They're pulling up right
Oh,
now.
here we go.
Report. So
Popos are here. Oh, there's 2 of them. Oh no. Oh, nope. They're turning that way. Why does this have line lock?
I don't know, but the line lock works great.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have to see that.
like really good.
this thing does a really good burnout.
Dude, this thing is
Gear burnouts.
HKS power.
And God's turbo.
Damn, this thing is legit. I could hear you guys from a mile away, basically.
Did
Yeah. I was like, what's pulling up?
Quiet.
It's so good.
we're gonna get off on Biscayne. We're gonna hang it back out, make a U-turn on Biscayne, and go back on the highway through the tunnel. And then Key Biscayne. And that's it. To the tunnel, in, out, and then we're going to Key Biscayne after.
All right, I'm gonna ride in the Maserati then. Oh, you don't have this to pick up chicks. You pick up weird photographer guys, right? All right, let's see this thing open. Oh, there you go. Hell yeah. Damn. It looks good on you, bud. You just need a $380,000.
I'm still missing $7,000 after that.
Here we go! Oh my God, look at the way this opens. Dude. Just like old times, here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, buddy. This is gonna be so legit. Oh, wow. car driver.
Oh.
Dude.
Thanks for coming.
You can be my camera car driver anytime.
I appreciate it, Larry.
This sounds unlike any other R34.
It's amazing.
Why does it sound like that?
Tome. It's got a Tome. It's got that titanium Tome, full
Dude,
exhaust.
It sounds so crazy. It sounds so different.
Got that wall, like deep.
Yeah. It doesn't sound like inline 6. And plus this thing is so loud too.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The Group B, baby.
That chop is something else. Dude, that was so cool. Look at this scene. This is such a beautiful city, I do have to say. Hey, it looks good on you.
It looks good on
Yeah, I think so.
Larry Chen approved.
Yeah. It just got crazier. Oh no. Very Miami. What is going on? All right, we didn't invite them.
How to get arrested in Miami.
I know. Okay. Dude, I literally, this is so Miami. I'm literally filming a R33 and in the same shot, somebody just starts doing a burnout on a bike. And then now they're doing wheelies.
It's normal, bro.
Yeah, it's normal.
Normal night here.
Normal to you. Normal to you. I'm gonna get in the RX-7 now so I can experience what this is like. Oh, buddy. Here we go. This is a full-on race car. Oh my God. This is probably one of the most, if not the most rowdy street car I've ever driven in. I honestly have to say that was a new experience for me. It's one thing to ride in a race car on the track.
It's another to do it on the street.
What the hell? Look at this. It don't matter.
I sold it.
I cannot believe how rowdy this thing is. That thing is too crazy. I wasn't expecting that.
It's a little rowdy.
Little?
It's a little rowdy. Did you hear it finally?
That is the loudest transmission I've ever heard in my
That's all
life.
you hear. You don't hear anything else. You don't hear the engine, you don't hear the turbo, nothing.
I would go deaf just from the
It's
transmission.
so much fun though. It's so
Yeah.
mechanical.
It
You gotta
is.
be hardcore, you know? Like it's not for a fucking normal guy trying to look for an RX-7.
Dude, the NSX is a street car. This
Compared to, yeah.
is a
for
race
sure.
car.
That's a race car. That's borderline too much. But that's what I like. I like that.
I see that.
Yeah.
Very rowdy.
Yeah, like the rowdiest possible.
What an absolute crazy night. That was so much fun. Hanging out with Danny, the RMC guys. So many incredible cars came out. It's just how funny that it compounded. You know, we literally just like pulled up into this one parking lot and more people started showing up and more people started showing up. And a lot of the people just happen to know each other or they just happen to be out cruising on a Monday night. It is really an indication of how healthy the car culture is here in Miami. It's also just cool to see these folks enjoying these really high-end cars.
The night was young, so we decided to jump right back into the cars and head for a popular food spot that is open 24 hours. I wanted to ride with Danny in the crazy FD RX-7.
I can't believe how rowdy this thing is.
This is rowdy, bro. I fucking love it, bro.
It doesn't even, like you said, it doesn't make that much power, but the way everything is happening is just, it's a lot. It's a lot for your senses.
Absolutely. It's meant to do it for 30 minutes though, you know what I'm saying? Not for like a pool. I'm sure if we turn it up, the way that the car's set up, it'll hold a lot. You know, the fuel system's overkill, the trans is overkill, the brakes, the suspension, but the point is to like use that and find the limit.
A steak sandwich.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
All right, that's what it's up?
Yeah.
All right.
You gotta order in Spanish. Pan con bistec.
Meeting young, passionate individuals in the car culture industry like Danny makes me so happy because he really is the next generation. For someone to be so knowledgeable at his age with these tuner cars gives me hope for the future. What also blows me away is the fact that a dealership like this can exist and thrive in 2025. These cars are more appreciated now than ever before.